The Liberals think life is much too affordable. Their solution, a tax on pop. Will the Liberals come clean on their planned new soda tax?
I am so proud that this year that we launched Canada's new food guide, and it was extremely well received by all Canadians. We've also banned industrial trans fats. We're also moving forward with restricting marketing to kids. Mr. Speaker, we are moving forward with a healthy agenda as we want to make sure that Canadians have the best chance to succeed.
Some Liberal Ontario MPs are pushing to get a so-called soda tax included in the Liberals' election platform this fall. The idea would be to put a 20% levy on the average liter of pop or sugary drinks. Welcome back to the Power Panel with Rachel, Brad, Yolande, and JP. Rachel, I'll start with you. What do you think of the idea?
Well, I hope they do proceed with it. I mean, God knows where we'd be without the Liberal government taxing our sugary beverages. There is literally nothing that they can think of that they won't tax. Now, look, I think there's a reason they're proposing this, and it's because they've got endless deficits on their horizon. They need a new source of revenue, and foods with sugar in them look like they're an awfully convenient source. It's the same thing with the carbon tax. It makes life less affordable for ordinary people, and it raises new revenue for the government. So look, I hope they do proceed with this. I think it'll be a great thing to campaign on. I think the Conservatives will take full advantage of it, and I think it'll be tremendously unpopular.
So the Liberals, JP, insist, just like with the carbon tax, that it's actually for a purpose. They're saying they want to reduce carbon emissions. Here they're saying research from the University of Waterloo reveals that sugary drink consumption is projected to result in over 63,000 deaths and cost the healthcare system more than $50 billion over the next 25 years.
That might be all well and true, but it's terrible politics, frankly. And if you look at any of the cities in the United States where they've actually implemented this, it's been so unpopular that half of them that have implemented it have actually repealed it. Philadelphia adopted it in January. They're already talking about it now in May about repealing it because it's such bad politics, because it doesn't just apply to Coca-Cola, it applies to almond milk and sweet sugary beverages of all sorts, including energy drinks. But it's also, there's a backlash in the United States from the left because it's also a very regressive tax policy, right? Because, you know, just by nature, consumption taxes and sales taxes are they're the hardest on the very poor among us, who also happen to be the people who buy the most sugary beverages. So it hits them harder than it hits other demographics, but also promises to use revenue from sugar taxes to go to other really great sounding programs. That rarely happens because they found in Philadelphia, for example, in the first 6 months, only 25% of soda tax revenues they collected actually went to the stated purpose, which was to improve pre-K programming. And actually, it mostly just went to general revenues to help cover budget deficits. So they don't actually use the money to help improve, you know, health programs or social programs that are targeted towards the poor. It's actually just a money-raising initiative.
Oh boy, that's interesting. Yolande, what do you think?
I think the government should react quickly in terms of putting this to the side and saying that this is not something that'll find itself in the party platform, because even though it is at the point of just a proposal from MPs, it still allows Conservatives to kind of surf on that and even conflate it with other measures. And I kind of feel like, yes, sugar is an issue, and the Minister of Health really did, in her response, talk to the changes that were made to the food guide and so forth, and positive aspects that the government tried to put forward. But if you're talking about tax in general, just the word tax makes people upset. So you need to have a clear results as to how not only are you reducing consumption of soda, but of sugar in general, and how that directly affects our health and our obesity among our youth, especially in Canada. And from what I understand, that has not been tested.
Yeah, I mean, there are some studies that put forward, like one, they did study in Philly, for example, yep. They found the consumption of sugary drinks dropped by nearly 40%.
But not on long-term health.
But and I think JP's point is a good one, Brad, the idea that, I mean, a lot of times, you know, we overlook the fact that lots of crappy food is bought because it's a lot cheaper than the stuff in the food guide, which was the main criticism. I mean, it's a good food guide, but it's very expensive to buy all that type of food all the time. Yeah.
No, it's true. It's actually interesting as jurisdictions across the country have put on the calorie count next to the menu items when you go to a restaurant. What some studies are finding is that people are actually buying the most caloric, high thing because that way they get more money. So $5 Baconator is better than the the $3 with a lot less calories. So that speaks to that point, right? That it has unintended consequences. But the debate we should be having is how do we lower type 2 diabetes? How do we get
prevention,
the food. The healthy foods in our children, which is that's where they start their eating habits. I know that some provinces, Alberta had just expanded their lunch program. So healthy foods are being provided at the school. That helps on a whole bunch of levels, including education outcomes. But that's the way we should be looking at it. The one hit. I know it came from a well-meaning organization that's working on this, but I think the public policy needs to kind of look in the long term, and we need more than just, I think, one public policy instrument in order to change. If you take a look at what we've done in other areas like smoking, taxes were increased on cigarettes over time, but there was a whole swath of other public policy. And where you can consume things and where you can buy things, age restrictions. I'm not saying that's for soda, but I'm just saying that there's a whole menu of public policy instruments that we need in order to tackle something, because this is an issue.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It is an issue. As soon as you start talking, as soon as you hear the word tax, though, that becomes the discussion.
Conversation's over.
Yeah, Rachel.
Yeah, look, if we have a choice between a sugar tax and undermining the independence of the press and undermining the rule of law, which were the topic of our previous two segments, I'll take the sugar tax. So, in some senses, given what the Liberal government's been working on to date, this might be the best of a really bunch of terrible alternatives.
You're endorsing the sugar tax, is what you're saying.
By comparison to the other options. Yes.
Well, I just want to say the New Zealand Institute for Economic Research did a study. They did 47 studies of all the various sugar taxes around the world, and they found that the taxes did not lead to improved health in any of the jurisdictions over the long term.
It must be hard to, I take that point. It's hard to isolate, I guess, how one measure, like Brad says, it has to be done in conjunction with other things, or there has to be like a bigger policy thing.
Yeah,
right.
Campaign.
Sugar is an issue for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
But I imagine the debate needs to be a bit
There's a
wider.
reason why our raccoons have diabetes in Toronto.
Oh boy, and they're still eating the lawn nonstop. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks to the Power Panel, Rachel Curran,
Vashti.
Brad Levine, Yolande James, and John Paul Tasker. Hi, I'm Vashti Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video. Thanks for watching.